Welcome back to the Phoenix channel. Today is Sunday, January 19th. If you like this content, consider hitting the like button, consider subscribing. Let me know what you think in the chat below, the comments below, actually. So obviously we've seen BTC and the overall crypto space here show at a macro level areas of support between the $7,000 level. And it looks like as of late yesterday, testing almost or upwards of the $9,100 level. So that'll probably continue to persist. The trend from a BTC perspective, it is attempting to break the 200-day moving average, which historically has been a challenge in the past. So we'll just have to see over the next several weeks or months what progresses there. But it was promising this last week to see the overall downtrend that had existed for almost, I want to say, about 6 months now, sort of break out of that downward cycle. So is this a true breakout? Are we at the bottom? We don't necessarily know yet, but there is some signs to suggest that maybe we are. Obviously, none of this is investment advice. You got to do your own research. From the perspective of what I'm doing myself, I am doing DCA as always, so I don't actually sell, I don't really trade, I do dollar cost averaging, and I mostly stay with the larger market cap projects. And I do that because of the issues you run into with smaller cap projects and liquidity. And so when you go to sell a lot of those smaller cap projects with low liquidity, you find that there's not really a true price discovery in them, but you don't really find that out till you're ready to sell. So just word to the wise there. And from one OG, I consider myself an OG, being around since 2013, 2014. Just something to consider there, and I think most people would agree. So information asymmetry is still prevalent, still around. We still find that in BTC and EOS in different ways. From the perspective of BTC, this morning we saw a tweet from the likes of Schiff from Europack. Shout out to Peter if he's checking out this video. He's getting a lot of flack from the crypto community. But in a sense, what this was about involved Peter claiming that he had lost his private key for his crypto, his BTC, his Bitcoin. And the fact that Bitcoin is broken was his conclusion. And so you have to understand that what's interesting to me is Peter isn't just some, as much as the crypto community gives Peter a hard time, Peter's not just some slop, he's not some low IQ financial guru. Peter's been around for a long time. And, his take on gold in particular and the U.S. Financial system, a lot of what he says is pretty spot on. What's interesting to me is, and what's really telling to I think a lot of people, and if you're watching this video, I think you could enjoy this perspective, is that you have someone like Schiff, who isn't necessarily a dumb guy, who understands finance pretty well, not able to really grasp how Bitcoin works. And so my question to all of you guys is, if someone like Schiff is having issues understanding how Bitcoin as a technology works, what makes you feel confident that at this point we have lawmakers and we have maybe even, let's say, 5% of the population who understands how this technology works? The answer is probably we're not even really there yet. We're really at the early days of this whole technology craze, this technology awareness, technology adoption. Probably have a long way to go, guys. So it's just something to keep in mind. You have someone like Schiff making those statements. It really puts things into perspective. It really shares and establishes where we are at with the adoption timeline. And continue to think that we're still early. Not from a generational standpoint. I think there's people in my generation, I'm, an older millennial, okay? Getting up there, but obviously outside today doing some exercise to keep my mind and body in motion. This is the second round. Did some bowling this morning, but you know, you look at the boomers, and as much as people like to talk trash about the boomers hold a vast majority of the wealth in this country, the fiat dollars, the houses, the assets. And so Peter Schiff's perspective and what he shared this morning, I think, is the general theme for how most boomers view cryptocurrencies. And so with that, you know, it does suggest that we are fairly early. There's a number of concerns with getting lost keys, getting hacked. A lot of boomers and a lot of people in general who just don't understand technology claim or may suggest, then why can't someone else start a Bitcoin? And the answer is they can, but it won't have the same network effect as the Bitcoins we have now. And the Bitcoin MacDaddy, the old school Bitcoin, being one of the largest capitalized crypto asset of today. So it takes time and effort and network effects and companies and resources to create that type of conception, it would be, right? And it doesn't just happen from someone creating zeros and ones on a computer. So there's a huge information asymmetry on that point. And for those that are watching this video who understand the technology, consider yourselves very lucky. And it's, I think, important at this point to keep that perspective in mind of where we are at. We have, again, most of the people who have the assets in the world don't yet understand the technology. Second component is, you know, now you take it to a technology like EOS. And we have a lot of people even within EOS as holders who don't understand the technology. So EOS is probably much, much farther away, not in terms of technology, it's influence on the mainstream, because I think you may see some hints of that with the likes of something like Voice. But in terms of an asset class for investments, I think that is way far away from where most boomers and most mainstream people are at, okay? Let me get you guys a panoramic of the view here in Phoenix. Look at that, guys. Pretty nice. We are in the 70s today. We finally kind of broke that cold snap. It's been so cold here. And we finally went back to something that's a little bit more normal, which is nice. So hit the like button. Give me a comment if you like that view. Doing it live today. So again, info asymmetry continues to be a theme on this channel, something I continue to monitor because it can kind of tell you where you're at with the adoption phases of a technology like blockchain. And we're still far away, guys, so just strap yourselves in, be patient. BTC, it'll continue to do its thing. And anybody who tells you you know, price predictions themselves on a YouTube channel, including myself, is just full of shit. So you should know that, right? Nobody knows what's going to occur. We don't know if BTC is going to hover as it's been, go down, or rocket up, right? And there's a number of catalysts this year, though, that are interesting. You know, we have the Bitcoin halving in May of this year. So that is a catalyst for BTC. We have the Voice beta, which is due to be released, probably not on EOS, not deployed on EOS, but a beta version of the technology is due to be released on Valentine's Day of this year, February 14th. And so we'll have to continue to monitor that system. And we have other types of catalysts as well, but those, I think, are really two big ones. We also have Dan Larimer speaking at Capitol Hill at the end of this month. So if you're planning to go to that event, let me know in the chat if you're going to be there. If you're a crypto homie, if you're an EOS community member, let me know in the chat if you're going to be heading over there. I think the tickets are free. So if you need help getting the tickets, just let me know in the comments below, and I think I have a link to that I can help you out with. So those are some of the things we have going on in the space. What else do we have just overall to chat about? Oh, well, some of the other risks that people believe could happen would be a government ban on crypto, which, I mean, on the short term, it's a possibility, but Bitcoin and cryptos don't run in a vacuum. They don't run just in one nation. They are global. So, you have to understand risks, and the whole point of me mentioning some of these from the boomer's perspective is to tell you guys that, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, this is not tinfoil hat, it's just based on those facts of studying, okay, what is the perspective that an average person would have on this technology? One, is this just a scam? Two, they could be hacked. Three, you get a better version of something and it outstrips this older version. Four, the government bans it. And so when you actually start to study what's occurring on the ground, what do I mean by that? Well, let's take the last example that I gave you guys, the government banning something like Bitcoin. Here's the thing, guys. Let me ask you this. Why would a government who plans to ban Bitcoin invest so many resources in it? We have a conference at the end of this month at the Capitol Hill building with the likes of Dan Larimer, with the likes of the IRS, with the likes of the World Bank system, with the likes of all these people, all these homies, really. They're not homies, they're like banking homies, okay? But not to get tinfoil hat on you guys, but why would these entities waste any amount of time, of their money, of their resources on a technology that's going to be banned? Just doesn't happen, guys. So you got to use some thinking and understand that someone's perception of risk, most people's perception of risk, mainstream, doesn't align with the facts on the ground. There's a contradiction, there's a disconnect, there's an asymmetry that is occurring. And so I just wanted to kind of show you guys what my thinking is as I continually reevaluate my DCA strategy, dollar cost averaging strategy, on a lot of these assets. And I go to these conferences, I talk to these people, I talk to these homies, I talk to the likes of Tim Draper, just to get a sense for what they're seeing from their perspective, And so I tell you, a lot of it is not priced in. So the scary part to me is you have a lot of these folks. I mentioned the last time I was in LA to see a family member, stopped over to a crypto conference and had a lawmaker up there on a stage at this conference basically saying that, one, he didn't understand the technology, but two, he's making these laws and that it's important for us to be nice to him because he's this lawmaker and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So that's kind of where we're at in the space, guys. There's still this perception, and I mean, to some extent it is true. They do hold power and influence in what can occur in the space, but at some point, just you have other regions in the globe that are taking this technology and running with it. And if the U.S. doesn't want to maintain its, I guess, status in the world as a place of innovation and freedom and technology, and at least pseudo, right? Because we could argue it doesn't even have those things. But if it wants to remain competitive, I'll say that much. It needs to reevaluate its position on this technology and providing a environment that's going to allow innovators to thrive, not throw them to the curb or treat them like criminals, which is what we have today. So we'll have to see how that evolves over time, but I am looking forward to that conference at the end of this month and seeing what the regulators and lawmakers have to say. Let's get some homies in that room. Let's get some homies at that event to converse with them and just see what their thoughts are and where the space is going. And how does the technology actually get there where it allows people to use it to improve their lives, yada, 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 and give some transparency to a lot of the fraud and a lot of the lies we actually see in the world today. So obviously we have also the Voice launch on the 14th this year. I'm looking forward to that. So Voice Beta will not be launching on EOS. It'll probably be on a special implementation chain, EOS.io. It's still worth, in my opinion, signing up because there is a possibility of, not a guarantee, to maybe earn the voice tokens and on the early onsets of the adopters who choose to do that, there's maybe some incentive, right, to doing that versus someone who comes a lot later when the technology is established. You also get to be a part of helping to allow the technology to evolve over time to improve its features and really be a part of that journey with the company Block One. So let me know, guys, if you're planning on doing that. We're not that far away if you think about it. We're less than a month out from the beta launch. So let me know what you guys are most excited about with that technology. For me personally, you guys already know that I think that not necessarily voice.com is the huge, I guess, interest at play here. I think it's more of the voice ID and what entrepreneurs can build with that, specifically looking to reinvent models like an Uber or an Airbnb or possibly even the rental market, right? We see a lot of industries here, not just in Phoenix, but everywhere globally, that are ripe for disruption because there's such a monopoly on a lot of these systems. Or even if there's not a monopoly on a lot of the systems, there's, in some cases, disincentivization right now that occurs. The rent-to-own market in particular is one that I've been interested in for a long time. I don't see why there's a need in today's space of technology and economics for someone to actually purchase a mortgage on a home. I actually see us going more towards a ownership fractional model of assets, and so that's an area that I'm really interested in bringing, not only just the Phoenix area but just everywhere. I'm looking to help support a technology that enables that, and I think EOS may have the ingredients to enable something like that. We'll have to see over time. And obviously we have the EOS Expo coming up in March. That'll be at the end of March, I believe, so mark your calendars for that. That'll be in San Francisco, as I mentioned, so hope to be out there, maybe stop on the way, visit a family member, and then head out there and see y'all if you guys are out there. So that'll be pretty interesting. But yeah, that voice ID is pretty cool. We are seeing issues right now with social media in general and understanding what is truth and what is false, right? So we see a lot of platforms like Twitter, we see things like Facebook, even platforms like Amazon, where you're buying products and services, right? Those reviews that you see, there's not really a way to know. There's not necessarily a way to know if those products or services the reviews are even real. That's the funny part, right? So I think with something like voice, what you could see in the future is a disruptor company coming along and providing users a much more personalized experience in product feedback and refinement of products. You could see the alignment of incentives there. The tokenization of product development is really interesting. You see some things on Amazon, and I'll give you a good example this week. I was actually shopping for some boots or some shoes. I don't buy a lot of shoes all the time, but I figured, you know, with a little travel going on, I need some decent shoes / city boots, and I couldn't find anything on Amazon where I just found like good reviews. Everything was pretty shitty actually, and was probably built in some sweatshops for the most part, and quality was really bad. But it was also hard to discern how many of those users are actually real, how many of them are fake. So this whole voice ID thing extends beyond social media. It actually extends to products, services, it extends to politics. So I really think it'll open up huge amounts of discussion and opportunities for entrepreneurs from that perspective. So with that, guys, I think I'll leave it there. I hope you guys are excited. Hope you guys are staying up to date within the EOS space. Let me know if you're going to be at any of those conferences. And until next time, this is Phoenix signing off. Peace.